My name is Phuluso Mawela, and I wrote a little story about myself, which is about an event which occurred a year before I joined Sumbandila. And here it goes. I will kill you. He vomited the foul phrase, releasing his anger along with it. My grandmother cowered into her little hut, her protective arms wrapped around my shivering little brothers. Will you please just quiet, Marian? This whole village will suffer. And you, Marian, you! Words scurried away from my uncle's vile mind. Frustration swarmed him. He grabbed a plastic bucket from my trembling hands and propelled it into the hut. Fueled by the anger that was still in him, it sliced through the air and headed straight for Marian, my mom. She jumped back just in time to see the bucket crash onto the floor. Water splashed. My uncle turned to face me. His face was dark as oil. Veins formed streams of blood in his eyes. His nose flared as air tried to escape his fury. I'd never seen him like this before. It had become worse. I jumped out of my bed. My heart thumped at my ribcage like a wild ape. A fountain of sweat poured out my pores. You're safe, Max, I convinced myself. You're 200 kilometers away from your uncle, and he does not know where you are. Your brothers are safe. Your mother is safe. Everyone is safe. I was regaining control over my breathing. But Granny, I quickly shut the thought away. Could not afford to think about her. Not now. After a cold, salty bath, I shoved some dried pap into my empty stomach, threw my old school bag onto my back, and advanced to the door. Max, my mom stopped me. Everything will be okay now. Don't worry yourself. It was as if she had been in my nightmare and relived the last days in Dutuni with me. I never understood how she always knew when there was something wrong with me. I know, Ma, I lied. Take this. She held out a 2 rand coin. You still remember where the school is, right? I'd walk you there, but I've got to send your brothers to crash. Don't worry about me, Ma. Those 2 boys from next door said they'd show me the way. And with that, I ran out onto the warm, sandy grounds of Mabalani village. Read! A chubby man grunted. He swung his arm and the stick he was wielding cracked on a boy's back. The boy, who had walked me to school that day, cried out in agony. Vana va Xikwembu va. Crack! You come to school to learn, not stutter. You disgrace me. Can't even read in your own language. He spat and left the scrawny boy. What's your name? The man asked me. Max. Phuluso Mawela, I added quickly before the stick whistled. Can you read the next paragraph, please? I've just moved in from Venda. I can't read in song. Whistle. Crack. I screamed. Where's Ma? I asked my brother as I got home from yet another horrific day at my new school. She went home. Granny died. He threw a note at me and dashed out of the room. I dumped the note in the dustbin. No use reading this, I thought. Preparing my 2 brothers for crash and making sure there was pap on the table was hard work. For 2 weeks I skipped school, spent nights gazing at the stars, and for a can of beans I had kettle. I'm tired of beans, cook something else, my brothers complained one day, and I ignored them. Seeming to understand, they stopped complaining, and the 2 weeks passed by. Where are we going? My youngest brother asked as he carried a box full of crockery onto the back of a bakkie. We're going home, dear, my mom replied. Tears like white paint were dried up on her face. She looked thinner than when I had last seen her. Whilst packing up the last few boxes, which fit perfectly in the small bakkie, we ate some pap, said our goodbyes to our new neighbors, and with my mom sitting in front with the hired driver and me sitting in the back with my 2 younger brothers and the small furniture we had, we drove back the way we had come. A wet, slimy cough echoed from the hut, which stood quite still in the middle of a maize field. You're not to go in there, boys, my mom ordered. But that's where we used to barbecue corn with Granny, my brothers protested. You can barbecue it there, dear, she pointed to a newly made patch in the middle of a crop under a lemon tree. Oh, okay, my brother shrugged and dismissed the conversation by leaping away merrily. Your uncle is very sick, Max, my mom explained to me when my brothers were well out of sight. She took a long break, did not ask her anything, never had to. I had grown to know that she would tell me things when she felt that the time was right. He is suffering from AIDS. When your granny found out, she died of a heart attack. Or so says the doctor. I need your help. What should I do? She burst into tears. I stared into an empty space as my mom continued weeping, resting her head on my shoulder. She had finally been defeated, and her burden was now mine to carry. The hate for my uncle spilled out of her eyes and seeped into my skin. The love and pity for him also crawled in like a snake. I stood up and stormed out of the house, headed straight for the heart. I pushed the old wooden door open, and a green gas with the smell of rotten eggs and vinegar hit me by surprise. I gagged and stumbled. Forcing myself to ignore the stench, I cursed into the heart. As I neared the figure, curled up on a straw mat on the far side of the heart, the egg stench changed into that of rotten iron. The green fog became a warm blanket of air. My uncle, limbs thin as twigs, with tattered cloth wrapped around them, lay on the mat. His eyes seemed as if they would pop right out of their sockets. Scarce, wiry hair stood motionless on his head. His dark face was now pale, and with a rusty voice he said, Phuluso, I am so sorry. Please, forgive me. My anger whimpered like a beaten puppy. I felt ashamed of my hate, and so I turned back and walked out of the hut. The soil took a piece of me with it as I released it into the pit where my uncle's body now lay. I stood back and watched as my brothers repeated the ritual, each pouring in a handful of soil into the grave. Why do they cry? He deserved to die, a villager murmured in the crowd. A few more murmured in agreement. I forced back tears and ran out of the graveyard. Vana va mudzimu va funana, hapu vadova va hangwerana, I read in fluent Venda. Beautiful, my Venda teacher congratulated with a smile etched onto her face. And welcome back to our school, Max. Do you want to translate that to English for us? God's children love each other. The words were sweet on my lips, and they forgive each other. Thank you.